Registration, and I'm going to need you to tell me why you're carrying a firearm.
I'm a federal agent, ATF. My badge and credentials are in my jacket pocket.
ATF? Yeah, right.
Here. Special Agent Dwayne Jefferson.
This looks fake. Where'd you buy this? I'm calling this in. You are free to go.
650 words. 14 years with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. Over 150 federal firearms trafficking investigations. 12 major illegal weapons operations dismantled across the Southeast. Special Agent Dwayne Jefferson had spent his career getting guns off the streets. 2 hours earlier, he had completed an undercover buy that would lead to 23 federal indictments. He was driving home to see his daughter's school play when Officer Travis Dunlap pulled him over and called his ATF credentials fake. "Where'd you buy this?" "Amazon." Dunlap laughed while Jefferson lay face down on the asphalt. A 14-year federal agent treated like a suspect because a 2-year officer couldn't imagine a black man with a real badge. The Bodycam captured everything. The backup sergeant who actually called ATF Atlanta captured the moment Dunlap's career ended. $1.6 million. Terminated. Barred from law enforcement in Georgia. And an agent who returned to duty and finished the case that put 23 traffickers in federal prison. The warehouse operation had gone flawlessly. 3 months of surveillance. 6 weeks of building cover identity. 4 controlled purchases documented on concealed recording equipment. The final buy, 14 illegal firearms including 2 converted automatics. Completed at 4:47 p.m. in an industrial district south of Atlanta. Jefferson had played his role to perfection. The nervous buyer. The guy who knew a guy. The middleman moving product for clients he never named. The traffickers trusted him enough to bring the heavy merchandise. They wouldn't trust anyone again. Not after the indictments came down. Supervisory Special Agent Marcus Webb met him at the extraction point. "Clean work, DJ. 23 defendants once we roll up the network. The U.S. Attorney is already drafting. Glad it's done. Get out of here. Your daughter's play is tonight, right? 7 o'clock. Might actually make it." Jefferson changed in the back of the surveillance van, shedding the undercover attire for his own clothes. Dark jeans. Black polo shirt. Brown leather jacket. His service weapon, ATF-issued Glock 19, transferred to his holster. His credentials went into his jacket pocket. Federal agents carry credentials at all times. Policy. Requirement. The badge that identified him as Special Agent Dwayne Jefferson, GS, 13, Atlanta Field Division. He had carried that badge for 14 years. Former Army military police with 6 years of service, including deployment to Iraq. Florida A&M for his bachelor's. University of Central Florida for his master's in forensic science. The Distinguished Service Medal for an undercover operation that prevented an arms shipment to a domestic terror cell. The career he had built from nothing. Raised in Liberty City, Miami by his grandmother after losing both parents to gun violence at age 7. That loss had driven everything. The enlistment, the education, the 14 years of taking illegal weapons off streets before they could take more parents from more children. His black Dodge Charger sat in the secure lot. Personal vehicle. Nothing about it suggested federal agent, which was the point during undercover operations. He pulled onto I-75 North at 5:23 p.m. Rush hour traffic. The drive to Marietta would take 40 minutes on a good day, longer with congestion. Highway 41 offered a shortcut through Cobb County. Less traffic. Familiar route. He exited onto the suburban stretch at 6:44 p.m. Strip malls and gas stations. Light traffic passing in both directions. 8 minutes from home. Plenty of time for the play. The patrol car appeared in his rearview mirror at 6:48 p.m. Officer Travis Dunlap had been running stationary radar near the Roswell Road intersection. He watched the black Charger pass, 3 miles under the speed limit, signals properly used, nothing indicating any traffic violation. He pulled out and followed anyway. 4 minutes later, his lights activated. Jefferson checked his speed, checked his mirrors, checked his turn signals. Nothing wrong. Nothing violated. No reason for the stop. He pulled to the shoulder with the discipline of someone who understood exactly what was happening. His hands went to the steering wheel. 10 and 2. Visible. The body cam on Dunlap's chest activated as he stepped out of his cruiser. Timestamp. 18 hours, 52 minutes, and 37 seconds. The Axon Body 2 captured everything from chest height. Jefferson visible through the driver's window, hands positioned on the steering wheel, posture calm. The Charger's interior unremarkable, no contraband visible, no weapons displayed, nothing to justify the approach that followed. Dunlap's flashlight activated despite adequate daylight. The beam swept across Jefferson's face, into the back seat, across the passenger side. License and registration. Jefferson didn't move his hands. Officer, before I reach for anything, I want to inform you that I'm a federal agent. I'm armed and carrying my credentials. How would you like me to proceed? Standard protocol. Every federal agent learned it. Announce status. Announce armed condition. Request instruction. Prevent misunderstanding. Dunlap's posture shifted. The body cam captured the change, shoulders tensing, hand moving toward his holster. Federal agent? What agency? ATF. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. My badge and ID are in my jacket pocket. ATF. The word carried skepticism. The audio recorded clearly. Yeah, right. Let me see this so-called badge. I'm going to reach slowly into my left jacket pocket. That's where my credentials are. Jefferson moved with deliberate precision. Right hand remained on the steering wheel. Left hand crossed his body, entered the jacket pocket, emerged holding the leather credential case. He opened it. The gold ATF badge gleamed in the evening light. The photo identification showed his face. The signature of the ATF director appeared at the bottom. Here, Special Agent Dwayne Jefferson, Atlanta Field Division. Dunlap took the credentials. The body cam captured his examination, turning the badge, tilting it toward the flashlight, scrutinizing details that had passed verification hundreds of times. This looks fake. It's not. I've seen real federal badges. This doesn't look right. Officer, that is an authentic ATF credential issued to me 14 years ago. You can verify it by calling the Atlanta Field Division. I can give you the number. Anyone can buy one of these online. Not one with my photograph, my badge number, and the director's signature. You know how many people try to flash fake badges? I'm not flashing anything. I identified myself as a federal law enforcement officer following standard protocol. I'm providing you with authentic credentials. You're welcome to verify them through any channel you choose. Dunlap held the badge at arm's length, as if distance might reveal a flaw closer examination had missed. Where'd you buy this? I didn't buy it. I earned it. 14 years with ATF. GS, 13 Special Agent. Currently assigned to the Violent Crime Task Force. Call my supervisor, Supervisory Special Agent Marcus Webb. Call the FBI. Call the Department of Justice. Call anyone you want. Step out of the vehicle. On what grounds? I'm detaining you for impersonating a federal officer. Jefferson's hands remained visible. His voice remained level. The composure that had carried him through undercover operations against armed traffickers held steady against a 2-year officer who had decided what he was looking at. I am not impersonating anyone. I am a federal agent. I've provided my credentials. I've offered verification. You have no legal basis for detention. You're refusing a lawful order. I'm declining to participate in an unlawful detention. There's a difference. Dunlap keyed his radio. The body cam captured the transmission. Dispatch, Unit 47. I've got a traffic stop on Highway 41, near Roswell Road. Suspect is armed and refusing to comply. Claims to be federal, but badge appears counterfeit. Requesting backup. Jefferson heard every word. Armed. Refusing. Counterfeit. None of it accurate. All of it now on the dispatch recording. For the record, Jefferson said, projecting toward the body cam. I am Special Agent Dwayne Jefferson, ATF. My badge number is 4782. I have identified myself and offered verification, which has been refused. Blue lights appeared in the distance. Backup was coming. 2 patrol cars arrived within 4 minutes. For officers now on scene, Jefferson remained in the Charger, hands visible, credentials still in Dunlap's possession. Sergeant Yvonne Palmer stepped out of the lead backup vehicle. 15 years on the force. The ranking officer present. What do we have? Subject claims to be ATF, but the badge doesn't look right. Dunlap held up the credentials. I think it's counterfeit. He's armed and refusing to exit. Palmer examined the badge briefly. Her expression was neutral. The body cam captured neither confirmation nor doubt. Have you verified with ATF? I don't need to verify. I know what real federal badges look like. Sir. Palmer addressed Jefferson through the window. Can you confirm your identity? Special Agent Dwayne Jefferson. ATF Atlanta Field Division. Badge number 4782. My supervisor is Supervisory Special Agent Marcus Webb. You can reach the duty desk at 404-417-2600. Thank you. She turned to Dunlap. Call it in. Sarge, I'm telling you. Call it in, or I will. Dunlap's jaw tightened. The body cam captured the resistance, an officer unwilling to verify because verification might prove him wrong. Fine. But when this comes back fake, I want the arrest. He walked toward his cruiser. He did not make the call. Palmer remained at the window. Sir, we're going to verify your credentials. It shouldn't take long. I understand. I'd appreciate it if someone actually made the call. We will. But before Palmer could follow through, Dunlap returned. His posture had hardened. Dispatch confirmed there's no agent by that name at ATF. Jefferson's eyes narrowed. That's incorrect. That's what I got. Step out of the vehicle. Now. Dispatch confirmed no such thing. You either didn't call, or you're lying. Are you calling me a liar? I'm stating that I've been with ATF for 14 years. My credentials are authentic. Whatever you claim dispatch told you is not accurate. Dunlap's hand moved to his weapon. Out of the vehicle. Now. The other backup officer, a younger patrolman named Reeves, had drawn as well. 2 weapons pointed at a federal agent through an open car window. Hands where I can see them. Exit slowly. Jefferson recognized the geometry. 2 drawn weapons. No cover. Compliance or escalation. An escalation against drawn weapons was suicide regardless of credentials. I'm exiting. My hands will remain visible. I am unarmed except for my service weapon, which is holstered. He opened the door with his left hand. Stepped out with movements slow enough to track. Kept both hands at shoulder height. Turn around. Hands on the vehicle. He complied. I am a federal agent. I've identified myself. I've provided credentials. This detention is unlawful. Dunlap's hands patted down his torso, his legs, his waist. They found the Glock 19 in the hip holster. Well, look what we have here. That is my service weapon. Issued by ATF. Serial number is registered to the agency. The weapon was removed. The holster was unclipped. Both were placed on the hood of the patrol car next to his credentials. Hands behind your back. I am not resisting. But I am stating clearly, for the body cam, that this detention is without legal basis. Handcuffs clicked around his wrists. On your knees. I will not kneel. I've complied with every physical demand. I will not kneel. Dunlap's hand pressed against his shoulder. The force drove him downward. His knees hit the asphalt, then his chest, then his face. A 14-year federal agent. Distinguished Service Medal. 150 investigations. Face pressed into the pavement of Highway 41. Dunlap laughed. Nice try with the fake badge. Where'd you get it? Amazon. The body cam captured the angle from above. Jefferson prone on the asphalt, hands cuffed behind his back. Dunlap standing over him with the posture of someone enjoying the moment. You know how many idiots try to flash fake badges? Had a guy last month with FBI credentials he printed at home. Another one with some Secret Service bullshit. Those weren't real. Mine is. Sure it is. Palmer had been watching from near her vehicle. Something in the scene had triggered the instinct that 15 years developed. The recognition that confidence didn't equal accuracy, that laughter during detention rarely accompanied legitimate arrests. She walked to Dunlap's cruiser. She picked up his radio. Dispatch, this is Sergeant Palmer. I need ATF Atlanta Field Division. Do we have that contact in the system? A pause. Then, affirm. 404-417-2600. Patch me through. Dunlap noticed. He left Jefferson on the ground and approached. Sarge, I already called. I'm verifying myself. The line connected. A voice answered. Duty agent, night desk. ATF Atlanta, Special Agent Morrison. This is Sergeant Yvonne Palmer, Cobb County Police. I have an individual on a traffic stop claiming to be one of your agents. Can you verify? Name and badge number? Jefferson. Dwayne Jefferson. Badge number 4782. Silence on the line. The kind that indicated database access. Then, that's Special Agent Dwayne Jefferson. He's one of our lead agents with the Violent Crime Task Force. He just finished an undercover operation about 2 hours ago. Where is he? Is he okay? Palmer's face went pale. The body cam on her chest captured the color draining. He's on scene. He's being detained. Detained for what? There was a question about his credentials. His credentials are authentic. He's been with the agency for 14 years. I need to speak with your supervisor immediately, and I need you to release Agent Jefferson right now. Palmer walked back to where Jefferson lay. Dunlap was still standing over him. Uncuff him. What? Uncuff him. Now. But the badge is real. ATF just confirmed. Special Agent Dwayne Jefferson. 14 years. Let Agent. Uncuff him now. Dunlap's face shifted. The body cam captured the transformation, certainty collapsing into something approaching fear. The badge didn't look. Uncuff him now. The handcuffs came off. Jefferson stood slowly, brushed the gravel from his shirt, examined the abrasions on his palms from the asphalt. He retrieved his credentials from the hood of the patrol car, verified the badge, checked his photo ID. He retrieved his service weapon, confirmed it was unloaded. Dunlap had cleared it during the search, reloaded from his magazine, holstered. Then he looked at Dunlap. I've spent 14 years getting illegal guns off the streets. I've been shot at, stabbed, threatened by actual criminals, people who traffic weapons that kill children. His voice carried no rage, something colder. And this is the most disrespected I've ever felt. Blue lights appeared on the highway. Unmarked vehicle. Federal plates. ATF supervisors. They had mobilized the moment the verification call came through. Supervisory Special Agent Marcus Webb stepped out. His expression carried something between fury and disbelief. DJ, you all right? Physically. What happened? Pulled over for driving while black. Badge called fake. Forced to the ground. Laughed at. Webb turned to Palmer. Who's responsible? She pointed to Dunlap, who stood frozen near his cruiser. Webb walked toward him with the deliberate pace of someone who understood exactly what was about to unfold. Officer, I'm going to need your badge number, your supervisor's contact, and every piece of footage from this stop. Dunlap didn't respond. This is now a federal matter. Whatever you thought was happening here, it's something else entirely. The evidence preservation began immediately. Palmer secured Dunlap's body cam before the footage could be altered. Webb requested the dash camera recording from both patrol vehicles. The dispatch logs, every transmission, every response, were flagged for retention. Jefferson provided his statement to ATF Internal Affairs that night. Factual, chronological, the composure that had carried him through the encounter still intact. I identified myself as a federal agent. I announced I was armed. I offered my credentials. I provided multiple verification options. All were refused or ignored. The officer claimed your badge was fake. He said it didn't look right. He asked if I bought it on Amazon. Did he ever attempt verification before the detention? No. He claimed dispatch confirmed no agent by my name existed. That was false. Sergeant Palmer verified my credentials with a single phone call. The dispatch recording would prove it. Dunlap had never called ATF. His claim of dispatch confirmation was fabricated. The FBI Civil Rights Division opened a parallel investigation within 72 hours. The evidence streams converged. The body cam showed everything. The stop, the dismissal, the refusal to verify, the drawn weapons, the forced compliance, the laughter. The dash camera captured a wider angle. Jefferson standing with hands raised, officers approaching with weapons drawn, the prone position on the asphalt. The dispatch recording documented what Dunlap claimed and what actually occurred. No verification call. No stolen vehicle report justifying the original stop. That absence became critical. Dunlap's stated reason for initiating the stop was that the Charger matched a stolen vehicle description. Investigators pulled every stolen vehicle report from the prior 72 hours. None matched Jefferson's Charger. No black Dodge Chargers reported stolen in Cobb County, Fulton County, or any adjacent jurisdiction. The stop was pretextual. The justification was fabricated. His personnel file revealed more. 3 prior complaints of racial profiling, all dismissed after internal review. A pattern of traffic stops that his colleagues had noticed, but supervisors had overlooked. Digital forensics completed the picture. Social media posts mocking fake cops and wannabe feds. Comments suggesting certain people don't deserve to be in law enforcement. Private text messages to fellow officers joking about thugs with badges and how easy it is to spot them. One text, sent 4 months before the Jefferson stop. Black guy in a Charger equals probable cause LOL. His stop records were analyzed. 2 years of traffic enforcement data. The pattern was numerical, not emotional. 73% of Dunlap's stops involved Black or Hispanic drivers, despite the demographic composition of Highway 41 traffic being approximately 31% minority. He was stopping minorities at more than twice the expected rate, and his outcomes were revealing. Black drivers stopped, 47. Citations issued to Black drivers, 3. Arrests of Black drivers, 0. White drivers stopped, 16. Citations issued, 11. Arrests, 2. He wasn't stopping Black drivers because they committed violations. He was stopping them and then finding no violations, because the stops were never about violations. Cobb County PD initially defended Dunlap. A department spokesperson claimed the officer was following protocol and the incident was under review. The bodycam footage leaked 3 days later. Public reaction was immediate. The image of a federal agent, face down on pavement, hands cuffed behind his back, an officer laughing above him, became national news. ATF director released a statement supporting Jefferson, condemning the treatment, demanding accountability. The department's position became untenable. Jefferson filed the federal civil rights lawsuit 8 weeks after the incident. Jefferson versus Dunlap and Cobb County, Northern District of Georgia. Deprivation of rights under color of law. False arrest. Unlawful detention. Fabrication of evidence. The complaint was 37 pages long. Discovery exposed what the department had chosen not to see. The traffic stop database became the prosecution's most damaging exhibit. Not just Dunlap's record, the department's. Highway 41 through Cobb County. Black drivers stopped at 4 times the rate of white drivers. Hispanic drivers at 2.8 times. The disparity held across day and night shifts, weekday and weekend patrols. The pattern wasn't one officer. It was systemic. Dunlap's 3 prior complaints had been dismissed through a process that never examined the underlying data. Each complainant was interviewed. Each denied the claims. Each file was closed. What the investigations never included: comparative stop analysis, outcome tracking, or any attempt to identify whether the individual complaints reflected a broader pattern. They did. Dunlap's defense rested on qualified immunity, the doctrine that protects officers from personal liability when acting within the scope of their duties. His attorneys argued good faith, reasonable suspicion, ambiguous circumstances. The bodycam footage destroyed each argument. The badge was authentic. Dunlap examined it. He chose to call it fake without verification. The credentials were valid. Jefferson offered multiple channels for confirmation. Dunlap refused them all. The stolen vehicle report didn't exist. Dunlap fabricated it. The dispatch recordings proved he never made the verification call he claimed to have made. Qualified immunity requires good faith. Fabrication isn't good faith. Refusal to verify isn't good faith. Laughter while a federal agent lies face down on asphalt isn't good faith. The court denied immunity. The case proceeded to trial. The proceedings lasted 4 days. The evidence was overwhelming. Jefferson testified in a charcoal suit. Not his uniform, not his tactical gear, just the clothes of a man who had spent 14 years serving a system that had failed to protect him from one of its own. I followed every protocol. I identified myself. I announced I was armed. I offered verification. I was calm, respectful, compliant. It didn't matter. Why do you think it didn't matter? Because Officer Dunlap had already decided what he was looking at. He saw a black man in a nice car. Everything after that was justification. Sergeant Palmer testified as a reluctant witness. She described the scene, the refusal to verify, the moment she made the call that Dunlap should have made. It took 30 seconds. 30 seconds to confirm he was exactly who he said he was. Why didn't Officer Dunlap make that call? I don't know. I've asked myself that question. I don't have an answer that makes sense. The jury deliberated for 5 hours. Liable on all counts. The damages phase followed. Jefferson's attorneys presented evidence of emotional distress, professional humiliation, and the lasting impact on his ability to conduct undercover operations. Criminals had seen his face in news coverage. The jury awarded $1.6 million in compensatory and punitive damages. Cobb County's insurance carrier advised settlement rather than appeal. The county accepted. The settlement terms were finalized within 60 days of the verdict. $1.6 million. A portion between the county's liability insurance and discretionary funds. Officer Travis Dunlap was terminated the week after the verdict. His law enforcement certification was permanently revoked by the Georgia Peace Officer Standards and Training Council, barred from serving as a police officer anywhere in the state. The criminal referral to the FBI Civil Rights Division resulted in no federal charges. Prosecutorial discretion determined that the civil verdict adequately addressed accountability. Dunlap faced no prison time. His career destruction was deemed sufficient consequence. The department entered a consent decree with the Department of Justice. The terms required: mandatory bias training for all officers, recurring annually independent monitoring of traffic stop data, with quarterly reporting revision of use of force policies for encounters with individuals claiming law enforcement status, external review of all prior complaints dismissed without pattern analysis, federal oversight for a minimum of 3 years. The data analysis that had exposed the disparity became the foundation for policy reform. Highway 41 stops were now subject to automated demographic tracking. Any officer showing statistical deviation from expected patterns would trigger supervisory review. Jefferson accepted the settlement. He allocated the funds deliberately. $400,000 established the Gateway Scholarship Fund, providing financial support for minority students pursuing federal law enforcement careers. Named for Liberty City, the Miami neighborhood where he had grown up after losing his parents to the gun violence he had spent 14 years fighting. The remaining funds went to his family. College savings for his daughter and son. Security for his wife. The stability that service should have always provided. He returned to ATF duty 6 weeks after the verdict. The undercover operation he had completed the day of the stop, the firearms trafficking case, resulted in 23 federal indictments. 18 defendants pleaded guilty. 5 went to trial and were convicted. The weapons that operation removed from circulation included 14 firearms traced to prior violent crimes. 3 had been used in homicides. Jefferson was promoted to Group Supervisor 8 months after returning. He now oversees the Violent Crime Task Force he once served on, managing the agents and operations that take illegal weapons off streets before they can take more parents from more children. He testified before Congress 14 months after the incident. A subcommittee hearing on racial profiling and its impact on minority law enforcement officers. His testimony was entered into the congressional record. I have dedicated my career to protecting communities from illegal weapons. I have put myself in danger countless times. I have earned every credential I carry. And none of that protected me from an officer who couldn't imagine a black man with a real badge. Travis Dunlap moved to Alabama after his termination. He works as a car salesman at a dealership in Birmingham. His applications to law enforcement agencies in Alabama have been automatically rejected. Georgia's revocation follows him across state lines. The Cobb County consent decree remains in effect. The third-year review showed measurable improvement in traffic stop demographics. The 4x disparity reduced to 1.7x. Progress, not parity. The Gateway Scholarship Fund has supported 17 recipients in its first 2 years. 3 have completed academy training. 1 is now a probationary agent with the FBI. Special Agent Dwayne Jefferson still drives a black Dodge Charger. He still carries his ATF credentials in his jacket pocket. He still follows protocol when stopped. Hands visible, verbal announcement, offer of verification. The difference is that he now trains other agents on what to do when protocol isn't enough. When verification is refused. When badges are called fake. When 14 years of service means nothing to someone who has already decided what they're looking at. The badge was always real. The question was whether anyone would bother to check.
Sir, I'm going to need to see some ID. Are you a guest here?
I just checked in 20 minutes ago, sir.
We got a call about someone who doesn't belong. You fit the description. Prove you're a guest.
Prove I'm a guest? I'm holding my room key. What more do you need?
That key card could be stolen for all I know. There's something off.
Deputy U.S. Marshal Terrence Cole.
Deputy Marshal Terrence Cole was in Chicago on federal assignment. Multi-agency fugitive task force. High-profile escaped convict. The kind of operation that required coordination between the Marshal's service, FBI, and local law enforcement. He had checked into the Langham, Chicago 20 minutes earlier, received his room key card, and was walking toward the elevator when Officer Brett Hannigan intercepted him. Prove you're a guest. Cole held up the key card. That could be stolen. Cole maintained the composure that had carried him through 11 years of hunting dangerous fugitives. Then he reached into his jacket, produced his U.S. Marshal's badge, and asked the question that ended Hannigan's career. I'm Deputy U.S. Marshal Terrence Cole. I'm here on federal assignment. Now let me see your badge. The hotel security camera captured everything. The rookie who couldn't imagine a black man belonged in a luxury hotel. The federal agent who proved exactly where he belonged. $18.9 million. And a fugitive captured 3 days later by the marshal who wasn't supposed to fit the clientele. The Langham Chicago occupied prime real estate in River North. A 5-star property where rooms started at $800 a night, and the lobby gleamed with marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and the quiet confidence of old money. The clientele expected discretion. They expected service. They expected to be surrounded by people who looked like them. Deputy U.S. Marshal Terrence Cole had arrived on a government reservation. Standard protocol for federal operations. The Marshal's service booked rooms for task force personnel at approved properties. The Langham was on the list. His assignment was waiting. 11 years with the United States Marshals Service. Fugitive Task Force. Over 200 high-profile apprehensions, escaped convicts, federal warrant subjects, the most dangerous individuals the justice system had lost track of. Before that, 5 years as a Baltimore PD detective. The Director's Award for Excellence in Fugitive Investigations. Certified Firearms Instructor. Defensive Tactics Trainer. Morgan State University. Bachelor's in Criminal Justice. Johns Hopkins. Master's in Homeland Security. Raised in West Baltimore by a single mother who worked 2 jobs. First in his family to graduate college. The tailored charcoal suit was new. Purchased for courtroom testimony 2 months earlier. The leather overnight bag held everything he needed for the operation. 3 days in Chicago. Early morning briefings. Coordinated surveillance. The capture of a man who had escaped federal custody 6 weeks ago. Check-in had been seamless. The concierge was professional, welcoming. Mr. Cole, we have you in room 1847. Excellent view of the river. Is there anything else you need this evening? Just some rest before an early morning. Of course. Elevators are to your left. Have a wonderful stay. He had walked 20 feet toward the elevator bank when he noticed the woman watching him. Diane Mercer, 62 years old. Penthouse suite. The kind of guest who measured her worth by the deference others showed her. She stood near the reception desk, eyes tracking Cole's movement across the lobby with an expression that suggested offense. She approached the front desk manager, a nervous man in his 30s named Gerald Patterson. That man. She gestured toward Cole. He doesn't look like he belongs here. Ma'am, I don't recognize him. He doesn't fit in with the clientele. I think you should do something. Patterson looked toward Cole. He saw a black man in a tailored suit walking toward the elevators. He saw what Diane Mercer saw. He did not check the registration system. He did not verify whether Cole was a guest. He did not consider that a man walking calmly through the lobby with a keycard in his hand might actually be staying at the hotel. He picked up the phone. I'd like to report a suspicious individual in the lobby. Black male, late 30s, gray suit. He doesn't appear to be a guest. Officer Brett Hannigan was moonlighting hotel security that evening. 10 weeks on the force. Eager to prove himself. He responded within 3 minutes. The hotel security camera captured the encounter from above, wide angle, both subjects visible. Cole stood near the elevator bank, room keycard in his right hand, overnight bag at his feet. Hannigan approached from the left, posture aggressive, hand already resting near his belt. Sir, I'm going to need to see some ID. Are you a guest here? Cole turned. His expression shifted from mild confusion to the controlled assessment of someone who recognized exactly what was happening. I just checked in 20 minutes ago, sir. He held up the keycard. Room 1847. The magnetic strip gleaming under the chandelier light. Hannigan didn't acknowledge it. We got a call about someone who doesn't belong. You fit the description. Prove you're a guest. Prove I'm a guest? Cole's eyes narrowed. I'm holding my room key. What more do you need? That key card could be stolen for all I know. Stolen? Cole's voice remained level, the composure that had carried him through 200 fugitive apprehensions. You think I stole a key card and decided to loiter in the lobby rather than go to the room? There's something off here. The only thing off is an officer questioning a paying guest for standing near an elevator. Hannigan stepped closer. His Bodycam was running. Axon Body 2, standard issue, recording everything his chest faced. The hotel security camera captured the same encounter from above. I'm going to need you to come with me to verify your status. My status is registered guest. You can verify that by walking 50 feet to the front desk and asking them to check the system. That's not how this works. Actually, that's exactly how this works. Standard hotel protocol. Guest verification through the registration database. Takes 30 seconds. I don't need you telling me protocol. Apparently someone does. Cole's overnight bag sat at his feet. His keycard remained visible in his hand. His tailored suit, the kind of attire that should have signaled legitimacy in a luxury property, apparently signaled nothing to an officer who had already decided what he was looking at. Sir, where did you get that keycard? From the concierge. 20 minutes ago, after he processed my government reservation. Government reservation. I'm here on federal business. Hennigan's lip curled. The security camera captured the sneer. Federal business. Right. And I'm the FBI director. You're not. But I'm happy to wait while you verify my credentials. Your credentials? My credentials. Cole's hand moved slowly toward his jacket. The deliberate motion of someone who understood how encounters could escalate. I'm reaching into my inside pocket. I'm going to show you something that will clarify this situation. Hennigan's hand moved to his weapon. Not drawing, but ready. Move slowly. I always do. Other guests had stopped to watch. A couple near the bar. A family returning from dinner. A businessman with his phone raised, already recording. The lobby of the Langham Chicago had become a stage. The security cameras were rolling. The phones were recording. And a 10-week rookie was about to discover that the black man he had decided didn't belong was more law enforcement than he would ever be. Cole's hand emerged from his jacket holding a leather credential case. He opened it. The badge gleamed under the chandelier light. United States Marshal Service. I'm Deputy U.S. Marshal Terrence Cole. The words landed with the weight of 11 years and 200 apprehensions. I'm here on federal assignment. Multi-Agency Fugitive Task Force. My operation briefing is at 5 a.m. tomorrow. He held the badge steady. The security camera captured it clearly. So did Hannigan's body cam. So did the phones of guests who had stopped to watch. Now let me see your badge. Hannigan's face had gone pale. The sneer was gone. The certainty was gone. What remained was the dawning recognition of catastrophe. There was a call. Badge number. Now. And your supervisor's name. Sir, I was responding to a complaint. I didn't ask about the complaint. I asked for your badge number and your supervisor's name. Those are simple requests. A 10-week rookie should be able to handle them. Hennigan's hand had dropped from his weapon. It hung at his side now. The posture of someone who had lost control of a situation they never should have initiated. Badge 7734. My supervisor is Sergeant Morrison. Sergeant Morrison. Cole produced his phone with his free hand. I'm going to make a call now. You're going to stand there and not move. He dialed a number from memory. Commander? It's Cole. I've got a situation at the hotel. I need you to contact the Chicago field office and send someone to the Langham. I also need you to reach out to Chicago PD's duty supervisor. He listened briefly. Yes, sir. I'm fine. But there's going to be an incident report, and the officer involved is going to need representation. He ended the call. The hotel manager, a woman in her 50s named Victoria Chun, rushed over from the reception area. Her face carried the horror of someone watching her property become the subject of national news. Sir, I am so sorry. I don't know what happened here. What happened is your staff called police on a registered guest without bothering to check whether he was registered. That's not our protocol. Then your protocol failed. I checked in 20 minutes ago. My name is in your system. My room number is in your system. My federal agency affiliation is in your system. All anyone had to do was look. The front desk manager made a call without verification. That's a training failure. That's a policy failure. That's going to be a legal matter. Chen's face went gray. We will cooperate fully with any. You will. And you'll start by providing me with copies of all security footage from the past hour. Lobby cameras. Elevator bank. Front desk. Everything. Of course. Cole turned back to Hannigan. You're going to wait here until your supervisor arrives. You're not going to touch your body cam. You're not going to delete anything. You're not going to contact anyone except through official channels. I was just doing my job. Your job was to verify a complaint before acting on it. You didn't do that. Your job was to treat a paying guest with basic dignity. You didn't do that either. Your job was to recognize that a black man in a nice suit might actually belong in a nice hotel. Cole picked up his overnight bag. You failed at all of it. Blue lights appeared through the lobby windows. A Chicago PD supervisor responding to the call Cole had triggered through his command chain. Behind them, the elevator chimed. More guests emerging. More phones appearing. More witnesses to what had happened in the lobby of the Langham Chicago. "That's your sergeant," Cole said. "This is about to become a very long night for you." Sergeant David Morrison arrived first. 20-year veteran. The kind of officer who recognized disaster the moment he walked through the doors. He saw the deputy marshal badge still in Cole's hand. He saw Hannigan standing frozen near the elevators. He saw the hotel manager wringing her hands. He saw the guests with phones raised. "Deputy Marshal Cole?" "Sergeant Morrison. Can you tell me what happened?" Cole walked him through it. The check-in. The approach. The demand to prove he was a guest. The dismissal of his keycard. The accusation that it could be stolen. The sneer when he mentioned federal business. Morrison listened without interrupting. When Cole finished, he turned to Hannigan. "Officer, is that account accurate?" "Sarge, I was responding to a call." "Is what he said accurate?" Silence. "Your body cam was running. The hotel has security footage. I'll have access to both within the hour." "Is what Deputy Marshal Cole said accurate?" Hannigan's voice was small. "Yes." Morrison closed his eyes briefly. When he opened them, his expression had hardened. "You're relieved of your security detail. Return to the precinct. Do not discuss this with anyone. Internal Affairs will contact you." "Sarge, that's an order." Hannigan walked toward the exit. His 10-week career had effectively ended, though the paperwork would take longer. A second vehicle arrived, unmarked, federal plates. Deputy Commander Sarah Walsh, U.S. Marshals Service Chicago Field Office. She had received Cole's call and responded personally. "TC, you all right?" "I'm fine. But this hotel has some explaining to do." Walsh surveyed the scene with the practiced eye of someone who had seen institutional failures before. "Let's get the facts documented." Cole turned to Victoria Chun. "I want to know who made the call to police. I want to know what was said. And I want to know why no one checked whether I was a registered guest before assuming I was trespassing in your lobby." Chen's composure had cracked entirely. The front desk manager, Gerald Patterson, made the call. He said a guest complained about. About what? About someone who didn't look like they belonged. Didn't look like they belonged. Cole let the words hang. And he didn't think to check the registration system. He should have. It's policy. I don't know why he didn't. I do. The woman who had started it all was still in the lobby. Diane Mercer had watched the entire scene unfold from near the bar, her face cycling through confusion, concern, and finally, something approaching fear. Walsh noticed her. "Is that the guest who made the original complaint?" "I believe so," Chen confirmed. "We'll need to speak with her." Cole picked up his overnight bag for the second time that evening. "I'm going to my room now. The room I paid for. The room I was assigned 20 minutes ago. I have a briefing at 5 a.m. for a federal operation that doesn't care about any of this." He looked at Chun. "I don't want your apologies. I don't want a sweet upgrade. I want accountability. And I want your security footage preserved before anyone decides this incident should disappear. It will be preserved. You have my word." "Your word." Cole walked toward the elevator. "I've heard a lot of words tonight. None of them were, 'I'm sorry for assuming you didn't belong.'" The elevator doors opened. He stepped inside. "I'll be expecting that footage by morning." The doors closed. Deputy Marshal Terrence Cole finally reached his room, 47 minutes after checking in, and one federal civil rights case closer to changing how luxury hotels treated black guests. The investigation moved with the velocity of a case involving a federal law enforcement officer. The hotel security footage was in FBI hands within 24 hours. Hannigan's body cam provided a second angle. Guest phone recordings added at least 3 more perspectives. The front desk phone records confirmed the call to police. The registration system proved Cole had checked in before the encounter began. The evidence was overwhelming. The patterns revealed were worse. Officer Brett Hannigan had washed out of the police academy the first time. Attitude problems was the documented reason. Difficulty accepting correction, hostility toward female instructors, comments that raised concerns about bias. He should have been permanently disqualified. His uncle was a precinct captain. Hannigan got a second chance. He graduated near the bottom of his class. He was assigned to a district with minimal supervision. He started moonlighting hotel security within 6 weeks. His social media accounts told the rest of the story. Posts mocking diversity hires in law enforcement. Comments about certain people not belonging in nice places. Shares from accounts that trafficked in racial grievance and resentment. His stop records were surgical in their bias. 7 civilian contacts in 10 weeks. All 7 involved Black or Hispanic individuals. 0 arrests. 0 citations. Just stops. Demands for ID. Questions about what people were doing in spaces Hannigan had decided they didn't belong. Gerald Patterson, the front desk manager who had called police, had done the same thing twice before. 2 Black guests. 2 calls to police. 2 instances where verification through the registration system would have taken 30 seconds. 2 instances where he chose to call law enforcement instead. Both previous guests had complained to hotel management. Both complaints had been dismissed as misunderstandings. Diane Mercer's history emerged last and proved the most damaging. She had filed similar complaints at luxury establishments across 3 states. Black guests at country clubs. Hispanic staff at upscale restaurants. Anyone whose presence offended her expectation of what certain spaces should look like. 14 documented complaints over 5 years. 0 legitimate concerns. A pattern of weaponizing staff and police against minorities in spaces she considered hers. The Langham Chicago issued a statement within 72 hours, apologizing for the incident, announcing an internal review, committing to enhanced training. The U.S. Marshals Service issued its own statement, condemning the treatment of Deputy Marshal Cole, demanding accountability, making clear that attacks on federal agents, whether physical or dignitary, were attacks on the institution itself. The FBI Civil Rights Division opened a formal investigation. The charges under consideration: deprivation of rights under color of law, civil rights violations, conspiracy between the officer, the hotel, and the guest who had initiated the complaint. Cole provided testimony over 2 days. He walked through every moment of the encounter with the precision that had made him one of the Marshals Service's most effective investigators. When asked how he had remained calm while being interrogated in a hotel lobby, his answer made national news. "I've faced armed fugitives. I've entered buildings not knowing if I would come out. I've spent 11 years in situations where losing composure could cost lives. A rookie cop who couldn't imagine I belonged somewhere? That's not a threat. That's an inconvenience." The federal civil lawsuit was filed 8 weeks after the incident. Cole versus Hannigan, City of Chicago, the Langham Chicago, and Diane Mercer, Northern District of Illinois. The complaint was 54 pages long. The federal courtroom drew national attention. The case had become a symbol. A deputy U.S. Marshal interrogated in a luxury hotel lobby for the crime of being Black while holding his own room key. The security footage was played first. Multiple angles synchronized. The jury watched Cole walk calmly toward the elevator. They watched Hannigan intercept him. They watched the keycard dismissed as possibly stolen. They watched the sneer. They watched the badge emerge. "I'm Deputy U.S. Marshal Terrence Cole. I'm here on federal assignment. Now let me see your badge." The prosecutor paused at that moment. Deputy Marshal Cole had to prove his credentials to be treated with dignity. He had to pull out a federal badge to establish that he belonged in a hotel lobby. A room key wasn't enough. A tailored suit wasn't enough. The only thing that mattered was his skin color, and for Officer Hannigan, that was disqualifying. Hotel employees testified under subpoena. They described the unwritten expectations, the pressure to monitor certain guests, the understanding that complaints from wealthy white patrons carried more weight than the dignity of Black visitors. "We were told to be attentive," one bellhop testified. But attentive meant different things for different guests. Cole testified in his Marshal's Service dress uniform, 11 years of service displayed across his chest. Director's Award visible among the decorations. "I've dedicated my life to law enforcement. I've apprehended fugitives who had hurt people, killed people, destroyed families. I've put my life on the line for a system I believe in." He paused. "And I was interrogated in a hotel lobby for holding my own room key, because someone decided I didn't fit the clientele." His wife testified next. Monica Cole, federal prosecutor, 15 years with the Department of Justice. She described the call she received that night. The fear, the anger, the conversation with their sons about why Daddy had been stopped. "My husband hunts the most dangerous people in America, and I have to worry about him being safe in a hotel lobby." Diane Mercer's deposition was played for the jury. Her attorney had advised against live testimony. The video was damaging enough. "Why did you complain about Mr. Cole? He didn't look like he belonged. What does someone who belongs at the Langham look like?" Silence. "Mrs. Mercer? You know what I mean. I'd like you to say it." She didn't. The jury didn't need her to. Hannigan's attorney attempted the standard defense. Good faith response to a complaint. No way to know. Training deficiency. The prosecutor's rebuttal was surgical. He couldn't have known. Deputy Marshal Cole told him he was a federal officer. He showed him a room key. He invited verification through the front desk. Officer Hannigan didn't want to know. He had already decided. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Liable on all counts. All defendants. Damages against Officer Hannigan and the City of Chicago, $7 million. Damages against the Langham Chicago, $8 million. Damages against Diane Mercer personally, $3.9 million. Total, $18.9 million. The verdict made national news within the hour. The aftermath reshaped careers, institutions, and an industry. Officer Brett Hannigan was terminated the day after the verdict. His law enforcement certification was permanently revoked. The criminal charges that followed, civil rights violations under color of law, resulted in 2 years federal probation and 500 hours of community service. He would never wear a badge again. Gerald Patterson was terminated by the Langham Chicago. His pattern of calling police on black guests, documented across 3 incidents, made him unemployable in luxury hospitality. Diane Mercer faced the most personal consequences. The $3.9 million judgment forced her to liquidate assets. The vacation properties in Aspen and Martha's Vineyard sold to satisfy the verdict. Her name became synonymous with the kind of casual racism that destroyed lives while pretending to protect them. The Langham Chicago implemented comprehensive reforms. Mandatory anti-bias training for all staff. New protocols requiring guest verification before any law enforcement contact. A review board for complaints that pattern-matched previous incidents. The hotel settled a class action lawsuit from other black guests who had experienced similar treatment. Terms confidential, but the internal changes spoke to the scope of the problem. Deputy Marshal Terrence Cole distributed the verdict with purpose. $5 million established the Dignity in Service Foundation, supporting minority law enforcement officers facing discrimination. The organization would provide legal resources, counseling, and career support for those who protected others while being denied protection themselves. $2 million funded hospitality industry training programs on implicit bias, ensuring that front desk managers across the country would learn what Gerald Patterson never understood. The remaining funds secured his family's future. College savings for his sons. Security for Monica. The stability that service should have always guaranteed. The U.S. Marshals Service created the Cole Protocol, new guidelines for hotels housing federal agents on assignment. Properties that wanted government business would have to demonstrate anti-discrimination policies that prevented what happened at the Langham. 3 days after the incident, Deputy Marshal Cole led his task force to the successful capture of the escaped convict he had come to Chicago to find. The operation went flawlessly. The fugitive was apprehended without incident. The mission that had brought Cole to the Langham was completed with the same professionalism he had demonstrated in the lobby. 6 months after the verdict, he was promoted to Supervisory Deputy U.S. Marshal. He now oversees fugitive operations across the Midwest region, the same territory where he was once questioned for standing in a hotel lobby. Brett Hannigan works as a warehouse security guard in suburban Chicago. His applications to other law enforcement agencies have been automatically rejected. His uncle, the captain who helped him into the academy, took early retirement to avoid association with the case. The Langham Chicago is now recognized as an industry leader in hospitality equity training. The incident that destroyed its reputation became the foundation for reforms that rebuilt it. Deputy Marshal Terrence Cole still travels for federal operations. He still stays in hotels on government assignment. He still walks through lobbies with the confidence of a man who has apprehended 200 fugitives and faced down threats that make racist guests look trivial. His room key works the same as everyone else's. The difference is that now, everyone knows it. 11 years of service. 200 apprehensions. One incident that cost a hotel $8 million and taught an industry that black guests aren't suspicious, they're customers. The key card was never the question. The question was why anyone thought they needed to ask. Deputy Marshal Terrence Cole answered it. $18.9 million clearly.
Ma'am, step away from the vehicle and let me see some ID.
Why the hell should I give you ID in my driveway?
Your driveway? In this neighborhood? I don't think so.
Excuse me? My family's been in Chicago for 5 generations.
Why don't you get the hell from here and stop causing problems?
Margaret Hollis had called 911 47 times in 5 years. Every call reported suspicious activity. Every call targeted Black or Hispanic neighbors. Every call was unfounded. Dr. Camille Thornton was call number 48. A Black woman breaking into the Thornton house. Except Dr. Thornton was the owner, carrying groceries in her own driveway with her 11-year-old daughter. Officer Ryan Kowalski responded with 13 weeks of training and a lifetime of assumptions. He demanded her papers. He asked if she was allowed to be in this country. When she explained her family had been in Chicago since 1918, great-great-grandfather from the stockyards, grandfather a Tuskegee Airman, father a firefighter for 32 years, he told her to go back to your country and stop causing problems. Her daughter screamed when he grabbed her mother's wrist. Her security cameras captured everything. 47 calls. 1 jury verdict. $19.7 million. The Lincoln Park brownstone had been Dr. Thornton's dream since medical school. Red brick. Black shutters. 3 stories of Chicago history in a neighborhood where homes sold for what most people earned in a lifetime. She had saved for years. 14 years of medical practice at Northwestern Memorial Hospital, one of the nation's busiest trauma centers. 8 years of military service before that. 2 deployments to Iraq. 1 to Afghanistan. A Bronze Star earned treating wounded soldiers under enemy fire at a forward operating base while rockets exploded around her. Dr. Camille Thornton, 42 years old, board-certified emergency medicine physician and trauma surgeon, former U.S. Army captain, born on the south side of Chicago. Her family had lived in the city for 5 generations, great-great-grandfather arriving in 1918 during the Great Migration, working the stockyards that built Chicago's meatpacking industry. His son had become a Tuskegee Airman, fighting for America in World War II. His grandson had served 32 years as a Chicago firefighter. The Thorntons were Chicago. Always had been. This Saturday afternoon, she had finished a brutal 48-hour trauma shift, the kind that left surgeons questioning whether they had anything left to give. Then she had picked up her daughter Zoe from soccer practice, listening to the 11-year-old describe her game-winning goal with the enthusiasm that made everything worthwhile. They were laughing as they pulled into the driveway. Mother and daughter. Groceries in the trunk. Home waiting. The woman watching from 3 doors down didn't see any of that. Margaret Hollis was 68 years old. She had lived in Lincoln Park for 40 years. She had watched the neighborhood change. She had opinions about those changes. And she had a phone. She dialed 911 at 3:33 p.m. There's a Black woman I don't recognize breaking into the Thornton house on Fullerton. She's got a child with her. They're taking things out of a car. The dispatcher asked for clarification. I don't know her. I've never seen her before. She doesn't belong here. Hollis had lived 3 doors down from the Thorntons for 3 years. She had seen Dr. Thornton dozens of times. She had called police on her twice before, both times unfounded. She had chosen not to recognize her. Officer Ryan Kowalski was dispatched at 3:34 p.m. 13 weeks on the force. Recent academy graduate. Eager to prove himself on calls that more experienced officers would have resolved in 30 seconds. Dr. Thornton was lifting grocery bags from the trunk when the patrol car pulled up. Zoe was already carrying 2 bags toward the front door, soccer uniform still on under her jacket. The residential security camera mounted near the entrance captured everything. Wide angle, clear daylight, no shadows. Timestamp, 15 hours, 35 minutes, and 22 seconds. A young officer stepped out of the cruiser. His hand moved to his belt before his feet hit the pavement. His Bodycam activated with a soft beep. Ma'am, step away from the vehicle. Let me see some ID. Dr. Thornton turned. Grocery bag in hand. Northwestern Medicine hoodie identifying exactly where she worked. This is my car. Why the hell should I give you ID in my driveway? Kowalski's Bodycam synced with the residential security camera. 2 angles on the same encounter. Neither leaving room for ambiguity. Your driveway. His tone carried skepticism that both cameras captured clearly. In this neighborhood? I don't think so. Dr. Thornton set the grocery bag on the trunk's edge. Her posture shifted, the controlled response of someone who had managed crisis situations in combat zones and trauma base. Excuse me. I said I don't think so. This is a nice area. Expensive homes. I'm aware. I bought one. You bought a house here. 3 years ago. After saving for a decade. Is there something I can help you with, officer? Zoe had stopped near the front steps, grocery bag still in her hands. She watched the exchange with an expression that shifted from confusion to fear. "We got a call about a break-in at this address." "A break-in?" Dr. Thornton gestured to her hoodie, to the Range Rover, to the open trunk filled with grocery bags. "Does this look like a break-in to you? I need to verify you're supposed to be here." "Where are you from?" "Chicago. Originally. Born at Northwestern Memorial, the same hospital where I now work as a trauma surgeon." "Where are you really from?" The question landed in the afternoon air. The security camera recorded Dr. Thornton's expression the moment confusion gave way to recognition of exactly what was happening. "I'm really from Chicago. The South Side. My family has been here for 5 generations." "Sure they have." Kowalski stepped closer. His hand remained near his belt. "I need to see some papers. Proof you're allowed to be in this country." "Papers?" Dr. Thornton's voice carried the controlled fury of a woman who had treated wounded soldiers while rockets exploded around her. "I'm an American citizen. 4th-generation Chicagoan. I don't carry papers to prove my citizenship in my own driveway." "That's what they all say." "What they all say? Who is they?" "If you can't prove you belong here." "My great-great-grandfather came to Chicago in 1918. He worked the stockyards. My grandfather was a Tuskegee Airman in World War II. My father was a Chicago firefighter for 32 years. I served 8 years in the U.S. Army, including 2 combat deployments. I earned a Bronze Star treating wounded soldiers under enemy fire." She gestured to the brownstone behind her. "This is my home. This is my neighborhood. This is my country." Kowalski's face flushed. The Bodycam captured it. The reaction of someone whose assumptions were being challenged by facts. His response came with a sneer that both cameras documented clearly. "Why don't you go back to your country and stop causing problems?" The words hung in the afternoon air. Security camera. Bodycam. Every syllable preserved. "Go back to my country? I was born 3 miles from here. We don't need your kind here." "My kind?" "My grandfather flew planes to defeat Nazis while America wouldn't serve him at lunch counters. My father pulled bodies from burning buildings for 32 years. What exactly is my kind? You know what I mean. I want you to say it clearly. For the cameras." "What cameras?" Dr. Thornton pointed to her security system. To his Bodycam. To the neighbor across the street who had emerged onto his porch with his phone raised. "All of them." Kowalski turned. Saw the neighbor recording. Saw the cameras he hadn't noticed. His hand moved toward Dr. Thornton's phone as she reached for it. What happened next would be captured from 3 angles. Kowalski moved before she could activate the recording. His hand closed around her wrist, aggressive, twisting, and yanked the phone from her grip. The device hit the driveway and cracked against the concrete. The screen shattered. The case split. Zoe screamed. "Mom. Stay back, baby. Stay back. You just destroyed my property." Dr. Thornton's voice remained controlled despite the pain in her wrist. "That's assault and destruction of evidence. You were making a threatening movement." "I was opening my camera app." The security camera captured everything. The grab, the twist, the phone shattering. Kowalski's Bodycam showed the moment from his perspective, his hand entering the frame, the device falling. The neighbor, David Morrison, retired architect, 15 years in the neighborhood, shouted from his porch while recording. "That's Dr. Thornton. She lives here. What are you doing?" Kowalski ignored him. "Turn around. Hands on the vehicle." "I've done nothing wrong." "I said turn around." He grabbed her arm, the same wrist he had twisted, and spun her toward the Range Rover. Her hip struck the bumper. Her palms hit the trunk. Zoe ran toward them, tears streaming. "Stop. Stop hurting my mom. Stay back, kid. That's my daughter." Dr. Thornton's voice carried through gritted teeth. "She's 11 years old. She's watching you assault her mother in her own driveway. She's watching her mother resist a lawful order. There's nothing lawful about this. I'm a trauma surgeon. I served 2 tours in Iraq. I have a Bronze Star. I've saved more lives than you'll ever know. Then go back to your country and be a hero there." Morrison was already dialing. 911. "I need a supervisor at 2847 Fullerton immediately. One of your officers is assaulting a woman in her own driveway. Her daughter is watching. The woman is Dr. Thornton. She's a surgeon at Northwestern. She owns the house. This needs to stop right now." Kowalski's search found nothing. No weapons. No contraband. No evidence of any crime. He released her arms. "You can go. I can go into my own house." Dr. Thornton turned slowly, rubbing her wrist where his grip had left red marks. You assault me, destroy my phone, traumatize my daughter, and now I can go. Ma'am, my name is Dr. Thornton. You can address me properly. This was a misunderstanding. This was racial profiling. You demanded my papers. You told me to go back to my country. You assaulted me in front of my child. That's not a misunderstanding. That's a federal civil rights violation. Sirens approached. The supervisor Morrison had demanded, "Let me explain something to you." Dr. Thornton picked up her shattered phone from the driveway. "I've performed surgery on soldiers while mortars landed 50 feet away. I don't panic. I don't lose composure. That's what makes me good at my job." She looked at Zoe, sobbing on the front steps. "But my 11-year-old daughter just watched a police officer assault me for carrying groceries. She's going to have nightmares about this. She's going to wonder if she's safe in her own home." She turned back to Kowalski. "And you're going to answer for that." The supervisor's vehicle stopped at the curb. The door opened. Sergeant Patricia Okonkwo stepped out. 22 years on the force. She assessed the scene in seconds. The woman in the northwestern hoodie, the sobbing child, the neighbor with his phone raised, the rookie officer standing alone. "What's happening here?" "Sergeant," I responded to a burglary call. "Officer, I'm asking her." Okonkwo turned to Dr. Thornton. Her posture conveyed respect, the approach of someone who understood how to de-escalate. "Ma'am, can you tell me what happened?" Dr. Thornton's voice carried the precision of someone accustomed to delivering facts under pressure. "I'm Dr. Camille Thornton. This is my home. I was unloading groceries with my daughter when your officer demanded to see my papers and asked if I was allowed to be in this country. When I explained I was born in Chicago, he told me to go back to my country. When I tried to record the interaction, he grabbed my wrist, destroyed my phone, and forced me against my own vehicle." Okonkwo looked at Kowalski. "At his body cam. At the security camera mounted on the brownstone. Is that accurate?" "Sergeant, she was being uncooperative." "Is what she said accurate?" "Silence. Your body cam recorded this entire encounter. Her security system recorded it. The neighbor across the street recorded it. Is what she said accurate?" Kowalski didn't answer. "Ma'am, do you have identification confirming your residence?" "Inside. I'll get it." Dr. Thornton walked into her own home for the first time since arriving. She returned with 3 items. Driver's license showing her address. Hospital badge showing her name. Military ID showing her rank and service. Okonkwo examined each one. Her expression darkened with every document. U.S. Army Captain. Combat deployments. Bronze Star. For treating wounded soldiers under enemy fire at a forward operating base in Afghanistan. Okonkwo turned to Kowalski. Her voice carried something beyond anger. The contempt of someone watching a colleague disgrace the badge. "You just told an Army veteran and trauma surgeon to go back to her country. In Chicago, where she was born, where her family has lived for over 100 years. Sergeant, I didn't know. You didn't ask. You assumed. You saw a black woman in a nice neighborhood and decided she didn't belong. You demanded her papers. You told her to leave her own country. She extended her hand. Your badge. Your weapon. Now, Sergeant, you're relieved of duty effective immediately. Internal Affairs will contact you. Hand them over." Kowalski's hands trembled as he unclipped his badge. The weapon followed, surrendered on a quiet street in Lincoln Park, while 3 cameras recorded. Okonkwo took both without ceremony. "Wait in my vehicle. Do not speak." Kowalski walked away. His 13-week career had ended in a driveway. Okonkwo turned back to Dr. Thornton. "Doctor, I cannot adequately express how sorry I am. This violates everything we're supposed to stand for. Do you know who called this in?" "The 9/11 recording will be part of the investigation. Her name is Margaret Hollis. 3 doors down. She's called police on me before, twice in 3 years. Both times unfounded. We'll examine her entire call history. You'll find a pattern." Dr. Thornton walked to the front steps, where Zoe sat crying. She gathered her daughter in her arms. "It's okay, baby. It's over. Why did he hurt you?" "Because he saw what he expected to see, not what was actually there." "But you're a doctor. You help people." "I know, baby. Are we safe here?" Dr. Thornton looked at her brownstone. The home she had dreamed of. The neighborhood she had earned. "This is our home. Nobody is going to make us feel like we don't belong." She looked at Okonkwo. "I want copies of all footage. And I want the name of the best civil rights attorney in Chicago." The bodycam footage was in FBI hands within 48 hours. The residential security camera provided a second angle. Morrison's phone added a third. The 911 call completed the picture. All 4 recordings went viral within days. 70 million views across platforms. The phrase, "go back to your country," became a hashtag. The image of a trauma surgeon in a Northwestern hoodie being forced against her Range Rover became the defining visual of racial profiling for months. But the footage only told part of the story. The investigation revealed the rest. Officer Ryan Kowalski had been rejected twice by Chicago PD before being hired during a staffing shortage. Both rejections cited concerns about cultural sensitivity and implicit bias indicators. When manpower reached critical levels, those concerns were waived. His social media accounts contained posts that would have disqualified any properly vetted candidate. Anti-immigrant rhetoric shared without comment. Comments celebrating deportations. Memes mocking diversity hires and anchor babies. One post, made 6 months before the Thornton incident. Real Americans are getting replaced in their own neighborhoods. Someone needs to remind these people who this country belongs to. His stop records showed the pattern. 24 civilian contacts in 13 weeks. 20 involved Black or Hispanic individuals. 0 arrests. 0 citations. Just stops. Demands for ID. Questions about citizenship. Systematic harassment of people who had committed no crime. Margaret Hollis's 911 history revealed something worse. 47 calls over 5 years. Every call reported suspicious activity. Every call targeted Black or Hispanic neighbors. Every call was unfounded. A Black family moving in, possible burglary in progress. A Hispanic landscaping crew, unauthorized workers. A Black teenager waiting for a bus, suspicious person casing houses. 47 calls. 47 times dispatch had responded. 47 times officers had questioned people whose only crime was existing while non-white in Margaret Hollis's field of vision. The pattern had been documented in dispatch records for years. No one had connected the dots until now. Northwestern Memorial Hospital issued a statement within 72 hours. Full support for Dr. Thornton. Pride in their colleagues' service record. Condemnation of the officer's conduct. The U.S. Army Veterans Association issued its own statement, deploring the treatment of a decorated combat veteran, demanding accountability. Dr. Thornton's 89-year-old grandfather gave an interview to local news. James Thornton Sr., Tuskegee Airman, one of the last surviving members of the legendary unit. I flew bombers over Germany to defeat fascism. I came home to a country that wouldn't let me eat at white lunch counters. I thought we had moved past that. Watching what happened to my granddaughter, in her own driveway, in front of her child, I realized we haven't moved as far as I hoped. Federal charges were filed within 6 weeks. Civil rights violations under color of law. Assault. Deprivation of rights. Margaret Hollis faced her own charges. Filing false police reports. Conspiracy to deprive civil rights. 47 documented instances of weaponizing law enforcement. The civil lawsuit followed. Dr. Thornton versus Kowalski, Hollis, and City of Chicago. Federal Court. Northern District of Illinois. The complaint was 63 pages long. The federal courtroom filled to capacity every day. Doctors in white coats beside veterans in dress uniforms. Communities united in outrage over what had been done to one of their own. Dr. Thornton testified in her Army dress uniform, the Bronze Star pinned to her chest, combat action ribbon among her decorations. 14 years of medical service and 8 years of military service made visible. I've treated gunshot wounds while rockets exploded 50 feet away. I've performed surgery on soldiers who would have died without immediate intervention. None of that mattered to Officer Kowalski. He saw a Black woman and decided I didn't belong in my own driveway, in my own neighborhood, in my own country. Her grandfather took the stand next. James Thornton Sr., 89 years old, wearing his Tuskegee Airman jacket. I was 19 when I enlisted. Black men weren't supposed to fly planes. That's what they told us. We proved them wrong over the skies of Europe. His voice cracked. I thought things had changed. Then I watched a video of my granddaughter, a doctor, a veteran, a mother, being told to go back to her country. In Chicago, where our family has lived for over 100 years. Zoe testified via video link. Appearing in court would have been too traumatic. I have nightmares about police coming to our house. About someone hurting my mom. I used to feel safe in our driveway. Now I don't. Margaret Hollis was called as a hostile witness. Her 911 records displayed on screens. 47 calls. Every one targeting minorities. Every one unfounded. Why did you call police on Dr. Thornton? I didn't recognize her. She's lived 3 doors down for 3 years. You've called police on her twice before. Silence. You've called police 47 times in 5 years. Every call targeted Black or Hispanic neighbors. Not one resulted in charges. Can you explain that pattern? I was concerned about neighborhood safety. Whose safety, Ms. Hollis? Kowalski's attorney attempted the standard defense. Misunderstanding. Good faith. Inadequate training. The prosecutor played the bodycam footage. Go back to your country and stop causing problems. Does that sound like a misunderstanding? Does that sound like good faith? Officer Kowalski didn't misunderstand anything. He understood exactly who Dr. Thornton was. He just didn't care. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Liable on all counts. Kowalski, Hollis, and the city of Chicago. Compensatory damages, $7.7 million. Punitive damages, $12 million. Total, $19.7 million. The largest civil rights verdict against Chicago PD in a decade. The criminal case concluded weeks later. Kowalski, guilty on all federal charges. 4 years prison. Margaret Hollis, guilty of filing false reports. 2 years probation. 800 hours community service. The message was clear. The police superintendent addressed the department's failures publicly. New vetting protocols. Enhanced bias training. Civilian oversight of hiring. The systems that should have prevented Kowalski from ever wearing a badge. Dr. Thornton accepted the settlement with purpose. $5 million established the Chicago Roots Foundation, providing legal support for citizens wrongly accused based on race. The foundation's mission, ensuring no one would face what she faced alone. $2 million went to veteran support organizations, resources for those who served when they returned to a country that didn't always welcome them home. The remaining funds secured her family's future. College savings for Zoe. Security for generations to come. The brownstone on Fullerton now bears a plaque near the entrance. Small. Dignified. A statement of fact. The Thornton family, Chicago since 1918. Dr. Thornton was promoted to Chief of Emergency Medicine at Northwestern Memorial 6 months after the trial. She oversees the department where she spent 14 years saving lives, leading the team that handles every trauma, every cardiac arrest, every emergency. She speaks at medical conferences about composure under pressure. She tells the story of the driveway. Composure isn't about not feeling anger. It's about channeling anger into action. I felt rage that day. I also knew that my rage, properly documented, would become justice. Ryan Kowalski is serving his sentence at FCI Pekin in Illinois. He will be eligible for release in 3 years. His applications for appeal have been denied. Margaret Hollis completed her probation. She sold her Lincoln Park home and moved away. Her neighbors did not attend the farewell. Zoe Thornton is 13 now. The nightmares have faded. Therapy helped. She wants to be a doctor like her mother, so I can help people instead of hurting them. James Thornton Sr. passed away 8 months after the trial. 90 years old. One of the last Tuskegee Airmen. He lived long enough to see justice for his granddaughter. His obituary mentioned the trial, how he had testified about fighting for America and watching his family still fight for belonging. The Chicago Roots Foundation has assisted 247 cases in its first 2 years. Citizens wrongly accused. Families traumatized by encounters that never should have happened. Each one receiving the legal support that made the difference between silence and accountability. Every Saturday morning, Dr. Thornton and Zoe walk through their Lincoln Park neighborhood, past the homes of neighbors who testified for them, past the spot where Morrison stood with his phone, past the driveway where it all happened. They walk with their heads high, because this is their neighborhood, their city, their country. 5 generations of Thorntons. Stockyards, Tuskegee, firehouses, operating rooms, combat zones. The officer who told her to leave is in a federal prison cell. The neighbor who called 911 47 times lost her home and her reputation. The city that failed to protect her paid $19.7 million to ensure it never happens again. And Dr. Camille Thornton still saves lives every day, still teaches residents how to stay calm when everything is chaos. still proves that the measure of a person isn't where they came from. It's what they do when the world tries to tell them they don't belong. One driveway, one officer, one verdict, and a family that will be Chicago forever.